Hey guys, welcome back to some more Banjo-Kazooie. We should probably save her sister, shouldn't we?
I thought we were done with this game.
We beat the game.
Well, we got the bad ending. Now we gotta go for the good ending.
Oh.
But do keep in mind, we can go ahead and enter this run on speedrun.com because we got the world record for bad ending.
So we picked up a Jiggy, which are essentially the power stars of this game.
Yeah, the Jiggies are what you use to unlock worlds in the game, and in order to unlock worlds, you find a painting on the wall, which is missing a piece, and then you enter the amount of Jiggies required to open up the world. Conveniently enough, this one only needs one.
Just smash it in there.
Man, they didn't do a good job hiding this piece, did they?
Yeah, it's like slightly over to the right.
They'll never find it. I think they found it.
Oh man, that was a hard puzzle. I couldn't figure out where that piece should have fit.
Shoot. I was wondering where my last piece went.
Mumbo's Mountain.
I love Mumbo's Mountain. I just like this game in general. This game is great. Now, one thing about the Xbox version, and we're going to mention this now, the Xbox version does a lot better than the N64 version because it saves a certain collectible in here.
Yep.
You see these notes here? There's 100 in every world, and you have to collect all 100 in order to unlock certain doors later on in the lair. Well, in the N64 version, this didn't save.
Yeah.
So every time you died or you left the level, you had to restart collecting the notes.
Yeah, in the N64 version, they handled the notes as a high score system. So whenever you died, it just saved how many notes you collected up to that life as a high score for the world. Which was really annoying later on because there's a lot of death traps in later worlds. And if you die, you have to recollect all your notes again. So if you want all 100 notes in the stage, it gets a little tedious.
Yeah, but in the Xbox version, they made them a collectible instead of a score.
Yeah, this was the one major issue that this game had back in the day in the N64, and this is the biggest reason why nowadays I recommend people just play this version instead. It's a main reason why we're using the 360 version here as well, besides the obviously graphical improvement.
Well, yeah, because the N64, I mean, we can't really record it on Elgato, can we?
No, I mean, I can. I have the upscaler, but even when you upscale N64 footage, it still kind of looks a little crappy. Because the N64, by nature, doesn't output the cleanest video.
But yeah, that's one of the biggest changes they did for this game in particular, this remake. Like, would this be a remake?
Well, it's an enhanced port, I would like to say. I wouldn't really say it's a remake.
Because they didn't really change anything, like, too big.
No, in fact, there are certain things that are kind of weird in this version compared to the original for that reason, and it's mainly because of how they upconvert it. Like we mentioned in the first episode how well the intro kind of did when it came to still being in sync, but there are certain things later on, like certain in-game cutscenes they can show you later in the game, like in the ending in particular, that go out of sync because it was not meant to be played without any lag. And that kind of thing they didn't really optimize for this version.
But this game in particular is a big collectathon. There are a lot of crap. There's a lot of crap you gotta collect in these worlds. We already mentioned notes, which you have to use to unlock doors later. Another thing, or the main objective, is to get at least 10 Jiggies in every level.
Yeah.
There's 10 Jiggies in every level, and you have to do a task of some sort in order to get the said Jiggies. But there's other collectibles like the Jinjos, which are the little characters that if you touch them, they go, "Ooh, Jinjo!" This character right here, the green guy. There's 5 in every level. If you collect all 5, you get a Jiggy. So, but yeah, there's a lot of stuff you gotta get. There's also ammunition for a lot of your moves you'll get later on.
Yeah, like we haven't really seen all of them yet, but this world introduces the first one, these eggs, which we don't even know how to use yet. And this world, this basically introduces you to all the main mechanics you're going to find in Banjo-Kazooie, because we have to learn moves from our friend Bottles and his molehills, and he will teach us specific things like Talon Trot here, where you're just running around Kazooie's back. Your main form of transportation in this game, mind you. You're never walking around basic ever again.
Yeah, because this is by far your dash button.
Yeah, well, not just that, but with the Talon Trot, you can also climb up slopes. And there are a lot of slopes in Banjo-Kazooie, so you're pretty much riding Kazooie at all times, just to make sure you can go everywhere in the world.
Nice. Got 69
Well,
minutes.
I was going to say when we was talking about collecting things, I was going to make a joke saying, hey kids, this is what us 90 kids call collectathons.
Yeah, which have kind of made a resurgence in the past couple years, too. Because there's been kind of a lot more 3D collectathon games like this. Kind of started with Ukulele, but now a lot of them are kind of doing the same thing.
But this is one of the originals. So.
Oh, yeah. This is kind of the one that coined the big thing. Like, Mario 64 started it, but Banjo-Kazooie, like, took it into a new direction as well, because you have multiple things now to get instead of just one major collectible, like in Mario 64.
You got a checklist. You got a checklist every
Yeah, you actually do have one, because you can pause the game, go to your total screen, you see a bunch of different stuff you can get in a level. There's always going to be 10 Jiggies, one of them being from 5 Jinjos, 2 honeycomb pieces, a handful of Mumbo tokens, is always different for each world, and 2 honeycomb pieces. There's a lot of stuff in these worlds.
You already mentioned the honeycomb. That's okay.
Well, there's 2 of them, so I gotta mention it twice.
It's so special it gets mentioned twice.
But if he mentions 2 honeycomb pieces twice, that means that there's 4 honeycomb pieces, which there are not 4 honeycomb pieces. But you get my gist. Lester's just like, I'm over here cracking my knuckles, just saying, it's a joke, Matthew.
And it just zooms over the head. So now we're learning our last move here in this world, which is using these blue eggs. We can shoot them, or we can poop them. 99% of the time, you're shooting them, because pooping isn't really that useful in Banjo-Kazooie. It really does depend on the situation.
Nobody wants to see this crap.
I love how he said, me safe here, can't get hit, as he got hit. Yeah, Conga here really isn't that hard to dodge, because he does throw oranges at you every once in a while, but it depends on how many hits he has, so first hit he'll throw 1, and after the second hit he'll throw multiple. Just keep on jumping. You gotta just beat him with a bunch of eggs for a Jiggy.
Oh, here's another thing. Here's another thing you gotta do in the level.
Yeah, each level has a Grunty switch, which this is how you get your overworld Jiggies. They're all from Grunty switches from now on.
Just remember to always hit that. Because, like I said, there's a freaking checklist in every world you gotta do. 10 Jiggies, 5 Jinjos. I mean, one of your Jiggies is going to be the 5 Jinjos.
Yeah, I mean, that one's at least easy to figure out which Jiggy you're missing if you haven't gone all the Jinjos yet. The only thing that's not on that checklist is actually the Grunty switches. You don't know if you hit a Grunty switch or not unless you see it hit. So just remember if you hit it at that point in the level.
There's also, you know, your bottles upgrade too. That's another thing.
Yeah, they do stop giving you moves from bottles, but that's not until later on. Like, you get them for like 6 worlds straight. But you do know when you're done collecting moves from bottles, because he'll tell you, that's all the moves I have. And he always tells you in the beginning of a world, if there are moves for you to learn, how many there are in a world. In the beginning, there's going to be a good amount, but we're going to get to a point where it's like 1 move a world.
I wonder, first time playing this game, how many people made the mistake of hitting all 4 before they realized there was a puzzle
Before
up there.
there was a honeycomb piece up there.
All right, I'm raising my hand.
I did it. Yeah, I did it.
I was about to say, all 3 of us better raise our hand right now.
Yeah, it's a beginner's trap.
By the way, a little tidbit for people who are just playing this game for the first time too. When you defeat an enemy, sometimes they'll drop a honeycomb, Um,
Yeah, they always drop honeycomb when you kill them.
yeah, or honey, and when they whenever they die, if you get hurt, you can pick it up to restore your health. The thing is, though, it doesn't go away.
Yeah, it's really nice. Like, the enemies can stay killed because of this, and the honey will stay on the field, which is really, really helpful.
It's really helpful if you remember, hey, there's some health up there because I killed that guy. You can go back and get it and get some health if you're hurt.
Yeah, it's interesting they did that for this game, because that's not something you normally see in a lot of games, and in fact, they fixed this for the sequel, because in the sequel, kind of reverts to like every other health system in games where the health does go away after a while if you don't pick it up, and the enemies respawn.
Just to talk to Mumbo.
I want those shorts.
I want those shorts. Mumbo, he's not in every world, but every like couple worlds he'll show up in his hut, and you have to use the Mumbo tokens that you collect, which are another collectible to pick up. Then you have to have a certain number, and he'll transform you into a creature, which you'll need to use to get a Jiggy.
Yeah, usually the transformations are like for like 1, maybe 2 Jiggies at the most. Like, they're not used for that much in said worlds, but a lot of the times these transformations are useful outside of the world too. So now I'm gonna leave Mumbo's Mountain as the ant still, because this will give me another Jiggy that we activate from the Grunny switch. Because we can't get to it normally as Banjo-Kazooie, not even with the Talon Trot. Because this is basically an enhanced version of the Talon Trot, because it will let us climb up slopes that even Kazooie can't climb.
Like this. There we go.
Just be careful not go too far, though.
Yeah, because after a little bit of a distance away from a world, Mumbo's like, hey, I can't keep magic. Termite, go back, or I will transform back.
Magic all gone.
Let's go back to Barred Bird.
That's shaman an old game, huh? To be fair, at least I will stab you for this one, Humba. Your magic's not as good, because in the sequel, you can't even leave the world of transformations.
So what, he got worse?
No, he's better than Hubba. Hubba's worse.
This is the doors I was talking about with the notes.
What's a note door? I don't see it here. Is it supposed to be in this general direction?
Yeah, you have to have a certain number of notes from all your worlds in order to open up the door.
Yeah.
I think how many is on there? Like 50 on that door?
Yeah, this one's 50. But you still have to have a lot to get through the first area here, but you'll notice later on it isn't as terrible. I think the most you'll need for a note door is 700, which is a lot out of the 900 notes, but it's not terribly much compared to how many Jiggies you need to beat the game, which is a handful away from all of them.